Unknown album memory. When I moved into the new place, a one-bedroom rental on the edge of a quiet town, I wasn't expecting much beyond cracked tiles and old paint. The landlord was the silent type. Just handed me the keys, muttered something about the water pressure, and left. I started unpacking that same night. Nothing fancy, just clothes, some books, kitchen stuff, and a few boxes I hadn't opened since college. The built-in shelves by the window were dusty but solid. I figured I'd use them for books, or maybe a few plants if I got ambitious. That's when I found the album. It was tucked behind a loose plank on the bottom shelf. The cover was dark blue, almost black, with no label. Old, but not ancient. The kind of thing you'd find at a flea market for $3. I opened it without thinking. The first photo hit me like a slap. It was me. Or at least a kid who looked so much like me at age 5 that I literally said, "What the hell?" out loud. Same crooked smile, same scar on the chin. I got that from falling off my bike in kindergarten. But the background wasn't familiar. It looked like a different living room. I flipped the page. More photos. The same boy, a little older. Maybe 7, holding a baseball glove. The same glove I kept in my parents' garage for years. But again, the house behind him wasn't one I recognized. The furniture was off, too modern, too clean. I kept going. Birthday photos, Halloween, a school play. All of them weirdly close to memories I had. I mean, freakishly close. Same Spider-Man costume. Same 9-shaped candle on the cake. But there was always something off. The parents in the pictures weren't mine. They looked generic, like stock photo versions of a mom and dad. Always smiling, always standing the same way. And then I reached the last page. It was a picture of me. Now. Or at least, it looked like me last week. I was lying on a mattress in a room with beige walls and no posters, wearing the same navy hoodie I had thrown on when I first toured the apartment. The angle was weird, taken from above, like someone had been standing at the foot of the bed. I slammed the album shut. I sat there for a long time, breathing hard, checking the locks, checking the windows. Everything was secure. I told myself it had to be a prank. Someone found pictures of me online. Deep fakes, Photoshop, whatever. But that last photo, that exact moment, that wasn't anywhere online. And the scar. In every photo, the boy, the teen, the adult, I had the same scar on the chin. Faint, but visible. And it was always angled the same way. 2 nights later, I woke up to a faint click, like a camera shutter. No one was there. I checked my phone. No new photos. But the album was on my kitchen table. Open to a new page. It was blank. Would you turn the page? Garage voice tape. It started with the sputter of a Honda CB750 that hadn't run since Dad stopped riding it in the late 90s. I'd been meaning to fix it up for months, but you know how that goes. One thing leads to another, and next thing you know, it's collecting dust under a tarp. That night, I finally made time. Dad was out at a poker game, and I figured I'd have the garage to myself. I brought down a toolbox, some fresh plugs, and a can of carb cleaner. The air in there always smelled like old rubber and motor oil. But that night, it had an extra bite. Like burnt hair, maybe. Or melted plastic. The cassette deck caught my eye while I was rummaging for a 10mm wrench. It was this beat-up silver box sitting on a high shelf, half covered in a rag. One of those combo radio recorder types with clunky buttons and a fake wood panel. I remember playing Beastie Boys tapes on it when I was 10. On a whim, I hit play. And it whirred to life. What came out wasn't music. It was voices. Specifically, my family's voices. My mom laughing. My dad asking if someone fed the dog. My own voice, younger, saying something about a flashlight. I froze. It wasn't the fact that we were on tape. That part was plausible, I guess. Maybe someone had recorded a Christmas morning or something. But it was what came next that turned my stomach. Dad whispering, "Don't let him go near the freezer." Then silence. A click. End of tape. The thing is, we never had a freezer in the garage. Not when I was a kid, not ever. Just the fridge with the busted ice maker. I stopped working on the bike. I rewound the tape and played it again. Same thing. Same soft laugh. Same warning. When Dad came home around midnight, I was still sitting on the workbench, staring at the cassette player. He saw my face and said, "You okay?" "I found a tape," I told him. "It's got us on it. From I don't know when." His whole body tensed. "What did it say?" he asked. "That you didn't want me near the freezer." He looked pale, sat down slowly, like his knees were giving out. "I never told anyone about that," he murmured. "Told anyone what?" He didn't answer. The next day, I checked every inch of the garage. No hidden freezer, no signs of anything being moved. But when I came back inside, there was a new tape in the player. Blank label. I pressed play. Dad's voice again. "I guess it's time. He's gonna find out, one way or another." He sounded tired, like he'd just finished something heavy. Then a scraping noise. Then whispers. Not words. Just tones. Like wind pushing through broken teeth. I looked up, and Dad was standing at the door. "You weren't supposed to hear that yet," he said. "What is this?" He didn't speak. Just walked to the bike, pulled back the tarp, and opened the seat compartment. Inside was a key. Old, rusted, tagged with a plastic label that read, "Chest." "There's more in the attic," he said, "but only if you really want to know." I haven't gone up there yet. Not because I'm scared, but because, for the past 3 nights, the cassette deck's been recording on its own. No tape inside, no power, just a red light blinking. You ever hear something that wasn't meant for you? Housewarming letters. I moved in on a Thursday. Not that it matters, but I remember because it rained just enough to soak the mattress I forgot to cover, and I spent the first night sleeping on the floor. New place, new start, right? It was a 2-bedroom rental house on a quiet street. Not too old, not too new. The kind of place where the windows stick a little and the light switches are installed slightly off-center. But it had charm, and apparently it had mail. When I came back from the hardware store that first afternoon, there was a white envelope tucked under the front doormat. No name, no stamp. Just, "Congratulations on your new home," written in neat cursive. Inside was a single slip of paper. "I've heard good things," from the previous tenant. I thought it was sweet, maybe a neighbor trying to be friendly. I looked around, half expecting someone to wave from a porch, but the street was empty. I forgot about it until the next day. Another envelope. This time taped to the mailbox. "Don't run the kitchen faucet at 2 a.m. Just trust me." Okay. Weird. But maybe it was one of those local quirks, old pipes, or something that rattled the walls. I didn't think too hard about it. Then came Saturday morning. Envelope number 3 was slid under my door. No greeting this time. Just, "The 3rd floorboard in the hallway creaks for a reason. Best not to step on it after midnight." I stood there, the paper in my hand, staring down at the floorboard in question. I'd stepped on it twice that night. Once coming back from the bathroom, once to grab a snack. I hadn't told anyone. By Sunday, I was checking for envelopes before I even made coffee. Sure enough, one was waiting. This time in the fridge. Don't ask me how. I hadn't gone shopping yet. Just some takeout containers and a bottle of sriracha. But there it was, folded neatly next to my leftover dumplings. Try not to unplug the fridge again. It likes to stay on. That was when I started feeling watched. Not in the creepy movie way, but in that weird internal way. Like when you're alone and suddenly remember an embarrassing thing you did in high school, and you feel eyes on you even though you know it's just guilt. That kind of watched. I set up a camera. A cheap, motion-activated thing I bought online. Pointed it at the front door. Nothing. No one. Just me, coming and going. I even left the house for a full afternoon just to see. Maybe someone was slipping in when I wasn't home. Still nothing. But the notes kept coming. Please, stop humming that tune. You dropped a spoon behind the stove. Don't pick it up. Leave the porch light on tonight. Some were helpful, some were unsettling, but all of them were accurate. I called the rental agency, asked them, half-jokingly, if the place came with a pen pal ghost. The woman on the line didn't laugh. She paused, then said, "You're not the first to ask that." Turns out, the last tenant left in a hurry. No forwarding address, no explanation. Just packed up and vanished. All they left behind was a mattress, some takeout containers, and, I guess, a habit of leaving notes. I haven't tried to write back. I don't know if that's possible, or smart. But every night now, before I go to bed, I check the house, lock the doors, close the blinds, and I read the newest envelope, wherever it happens to be. Last night said, "Thanks for listening. Tonight's hasn't arrived yet. Would you open it if it did?" If you made it to the end, you're officially a legend. Seriously, thank you so much. If you didn't fall asleep, hit that like button and subscribe. See you in the next video.